From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Hey everyone, good morning. It's Tuesday, June 1st, 2021. Welcome to the Practitioner Brief. I'm James Azar. If you're tuning in and it's your first time coming on the show, thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Yesterday, we had a different show because of Memorial Day in the U.S. Today, we've got a lot to cover, so I won't waste too much of a time of an intro, but get ready for some risk, impact, and mitigation. We've got 6 very decisive, very important stories we ought to share. A lot of them having to do with your organization. So we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube for all of those tuning in live, including my good friend Joel. Good morning to you too, sir. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to be talking about the Epsilon Red ransomware, a Nobelium phishing campaign that's been brought forth. SonicWall patches. A meatpacking giant JBS USA is shut down due to a cyber incident. Amazon devices are just about to automatically start sharing Wi-Fi with your neighbors. And a Kenyan national has been arrested in Qatar, and we'll find out why that should scare all of us. Good morning to Fahmuddin. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, folks. If it's your first time on, please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share the show. If you're listening on your favorite podcast listening platform, thanks so much for tuning in. Please go subscribe right now to the CyberHub podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. Give us a 5-star review. Helps push us up in the ratings there as well. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at KnowBe4, Wistic, and Ativo Networks. So check them out. You can find more about them in the show notes. And now it's 9:04 a.m. on the East Coast. It's 4:04 p.m. where I am. And I've already had 4 espressos, David. Here's my 5th of the day. You got your cold brew with 3 shots of espresso. I've got mine right here. The cup isn't clear, and I apologize. I'm in an Airbnb, and some of the stuff here is just, but my Airbnb does have an espresso machine, and so it's almost like I stayed at the Holiday Inn last night. Cheers. Oh, yeah, let's go. Here we go, folks. All right, short week, but a busy one. Let's get right into it. So the Epsilon Red ransomware, which is a new ransomware that's seen leveraging Microsoft Exchange server vulnerabilities to encrypt machines across the network. The Epsilon Red ransomware attack relies on more than a dozen scripts before reaching the encryption stage and also uses a commercial remote desktop utility. It's hitting vulnerable Microsoft Exchange servers across the U.S., where incident responders at Sophos discovered the new Epsilon Red ransomware over the past week while investigating an attack at a fairly large U.S. company in the hospitality sector. The researchers found that the threat actor breached the enterprise network by exploiting unpatched vulnerabilities in an on-premise Exchange server. The report that was issued today says the attackers may have leveraged a proxy logon set of vulnerabilities to reach those machines. The unique set of tools here, so I'm not too concerned. My Exchange is patched. Many of you guys have patched your Microsoft Exchange or have defined workarounds. To me, what was really interesting about this, some of the risks that I've seen from this and some of the stuff that I'm sharing is the unique set of tools that Epsilon Red is using. One, it's written in Golang, and it's preceded by a unique PowerShell script that prepares the ground for a file encryption routine, each having a specific purpose, like killing processes and services for security tools, databases, backup program, Office apps, and email clients, deleting volume shadow copies, steal the security account manager file containing password hashes, delete Windows event logs, disable Windows Defender, suspend processes, uninstall security tools like Sophos, Trend Micro, Cylance, Malwarebytes, and many others, expand permissions on the system. Most of the scripts are numbered 1 through 12, and there are a few that are named as a single letter. One of these, C.PS1, seems to be a clone of a penetration testing tool, Copy VSS. Remember when FireEye was breached in December, they said that the tools that were stolen were red teaming penetration testing tools. So keep that in mind. We're going to start to see this show up in more and more ransomwares as we get along. After breaching the networks, the threat actors reach machines over RDP and use Windows Management Instrument to install software and run the PowerShell scripts that ultimately deploy the Epsilon Red executable. They also install a copy of remote utilities, a commercial software file desktop app, and many, many more. Sophos has a great write-up on this. You should go and check it out as well. Very, very interesting. An increased risk for those on Exchange. Again, I'm not so much concerned because I think it's only like a few thousand machines that are left unpatched in Microsoft Exchange. Many of them, the people are unreachable, so we don't even know if they're still operational or if it's just, business went out, the Exchange server is still somewhere running because it's hooked up somewhere, but nothing's going through it. Having said that, the tools that they are using and the way they're operating, that's what we need to pay attention to. Take that directly into your red teamers, blue teamers, go to your purple team, connect with your analysts, connect with your engineers and architects, start looking at how they're deploying these tools and what methods these tools are being used and what you can do to ensure that you put a roadblock in one of those steps. We'll move to another story where the Nobelium phishing campaign poses as USAID. So Microsoft uncovers that the SolarWinds crooks are using mass mail service Constant Contact and posing as US-based development organizations to deliver malicious URLs to more than 150 organizations. Microsoft, through an Intel Center, began tracking this latest campaign of Nobelium, previously known as SolariGate, in late January when it was in a reconnaissance stage, and observed it evolve over a series of waves, demonstrating significant experimentation, according to a blog post by the Microsoft 365 Defender Threat Intel team. On Tuesday, the researchers observed an escalation in the effort as the threat group began masquerading as the US-based development organization to distribute emails, including malicious URLs, using a legitimate mass emailing service, Constant Contact. They said the threat actors targeted a wide variety of organizations and industry verticals. In addition to the widely disruptive SolarWinds incident, Nobelium is also the group behind the Sunburst backdoor, Teardrop malware, and Gold Max malware. The group historically has targeted a wide range of organizations, including government, NGOs, think tanks, and military IT service providers, health technology, and research companies. You want to keep your eyes out for this one. The target, which is ongoing, is currently the latest attack targeted 3,000 individual accounts across more than 150 organizations, employing an established pattern of using unique infrastructure and tooling for each target. So keep an eye for how the Solari gang is behaving. This is going to be significant, folks. I want to move on to our next story. SonicWall last week announced the availability of patches for a severe vulnerability in its Network Security Manager product. The NSM is a firewall management application that provides the ability to monitor and manage all network security services from a single interface. Track the CVE 2021-226 and features a CVSS score of 8.8. The recently patched vulnerability impacts on-premise versions of SonicWall NSM and does not affect NSM SaaS versions. This has now been patched by SonicWall, so go make sure to get that done as well. Good morning to Matt, who's tuning in. Meatpacking giant JBS USA shuts down systems following the cyber attack. The Greeley, Colorado-based company, which is a global food company owned by Brazilian-based JBS SA, is the largest meat processing firm in the world. In addition to the US, JBS has operations in Australia, Canada, Mexico, New Zealand, and Europe. The company announced that an organized cybersecurity attack identified on Sunday impacted servers used in support of its North American and Australian IT systems. They've suspended all affected systems, notified authorities, and are activating the company's global network of IT professionals and third-party experts to resolve the organization. Up to 10,000 meat workers are being sent home without pay because of this specific incident as well. And now to a few kind of human rights stories here. One, Amazon devices are automatically set to share Wi-Fi with neighbors as of June 8th. Amazon will automatically enable the feature on a family of hardware devices, including Echo, Ring floodlights, and Ring spotlight cams that will share Wi-Fi unless you choose to opt out. You've got to go in and opt out to make sure this isn't done. You can see the whole story. This is a whole part of an idea to create a mesh system. The way you opt out is you go into the Ring app, tap the three-line menu, Control Center, Sidewalk, and then tap the slider button to shut it down. You do the same on Alexa, open more, select Settings, Account Settings, and Amazon Sidewalk, toggle it to off. Our final story of the day, a Kenyan has been arrested in Qatar who was targeted by a phishing attack by the Qatari government. A Kenyan security guard is now facing charges in Qatar after writing compelling anonymous accounts of being a low-paid worker and found himself targeted by a phishing attack that revealed his location just before his arrest. This is according to Amnesty International and Citizen Lab, who said they were unable to say who targeted Malcolm Badali. The phishing attack mirrored others previously carried out by Gulf Arab sheikdoms targeting descendants and political oppositions. The week-long detention of Badali is in an undisclosed location and comes ahead of Qatar hosting the 2022 FIFA World Cup, which brings a lot of questions to bear. I'll share this story on my LinkedIn page as well for all of you guys to take a look at. Good morning to Micah. Thank you so much for tuning in, brother. So all the links are below in the description of the podcast. We'll have a lot more coming your way tomorrow as well. Tomorrow's show will not be live. It'll be pre-recorded as I have a family engagement tomorrow, folks. So I won't be able to be live, but I'll be back live again on Thursday. But tomorrow you'll still be able to get everything pre-recorded and available on YouTube and on your favorite podcast listening platform. Go to CyberHub Podcast now and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so. Until then, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you, everyone, for being part of the show today. I really appreciate it. And most importantly, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.